They are reversing a lot of what you did. And how are you feeling about what they're doing now?
So I'm very proud of what we accomplished.
And the crypto community is ecstatic not to have you there anymore and to have him there. Looking back on it, I mean, do you think that was the right call?
Yes, I think.
Because look, now we have this like burgeoning industry, and there's so much more innovation and leadership in the U.S.
and a lot more
crypto.
capital coming into it.
There may be more capital in terms of the interest in the public. The public is interested. I get that. But for investors.
You think this is dangerous, what they're doing?
Put aside Bitcoin. But most of the other tokens are not tied to any fundamentals. Like Warren Buffett would say, what are the goods? What are the revenues? What are they selling? And so forth.
Well, it's certainly a different environment now that Gary Gensler's reign of terror is over on the crypto markets. And boy, was that fun to watch, especially if you're an XRP holder. But let's talk about what is going on with XRP. We have obviously those ETFs, bullish, $34 million in volume. But there's some interesting things going on. Liquidation imbalances, as well as 3 big catalysts coming in less than 10 days, especially if you're an XRP holder. We're going to break all of that down. And I want to double down on exactly what whales are doing, because, well, the reality is everyone keeps telling us that whales are selling. Everyone's getting out of XRP. Shock horror. It's not true. We're going to break that down as well. So go ahead, smash up that like button to a brand new all-time high. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you want to become a channel member, get access and also our alpha calls and trade signals every single day. Just become a channel member here on YouTube and you get free access to that premium Discord. So with that being said, let's get into it. So, like we said, you will have heard people talking about the liquidation imbalance when it comes to XRP. Now, what are we talking about and why is this such an important measure? Well, the reality is that when you ever get longs and shorts, the people will eventually get liquidated. Obviously, if you're bullish, you want the shorts to be liquidated, and if you're bearish, you want the longs to get liquidated. And generally, this is what creates market volatility, and this is where we get big spikes up or down in price. Now, interestingly, there's some data coming out of CoinGlass that's saying $7.93 million worth of XRP positions were liquidated. 7.21 million of this came from long positions. Now, you could argue and say, well, that's just natural trading 2-bit. But when you look at the ratio, that only 10% of the entire liquidations actually came from short positions in a weekend and back end of the week where we got pretty bullish news, you'd argue, for XRP. What is going on? Well, this is an imbalance in ratio of 903%. This is never really seen before, and this is a crazy, crazy number. So here's what I think is going on. This is the age-old tradition of suppressing the market. We've seen it with Bitcoin when the ETFs launched over there. We saw it with Ethereum when the ETFs launched over there. And guess what? We're now seeing it with XRP with these ETFs come in. Why? Because 2 things. 1, Wall Street wants to see how these perform. And 2, people are not fully in the markets. 34 million is very, very good on that Osprey ETF. But when we start to get Fidelity, Canary Capital, and many others, that number is probably going to be $340 million. And I think that's why we are seeing this suppression. To give you an example of how this feels, Ethereum, they had a total of $61.5 million worth of long positions liquidated, shorts around 4.41, and then similar with Bitcoin as well. So we definitely saw some real market suppression over the course of the back end of last week, and there could be a couple of key things. One is the September rate for Bitcoin is actually performing better than I think nearly every single person except you guys and me thought that was going to happen. We've been talking about September being pretty bullish now for the last month, and also what's coming in October. And there are some key things to break down and some key things to talk about, namely the continuation of the rollout of XRP ETFs. And just to give you an idea, there's about 20 spot ETFs less to list on the markets, which we could see very, very soon. This obviously gives massive ease of access to Wall Street, which we know they have an insatiable appetite to get involved. And then you have this kind of idea that, well, we're going to see even more accumulation on the upside move. So people buying into XRP, people getting ready for XRP, because the reality is we are getting very close to the end game. DTCC, 2.4 quadrillion annual settlements, DNA protocol in terms of biometric and genomic identity, stablecoin with the RLUSD with trillions of BNY Mellon custody, banking licenses, ETFs, Fed access, master accounts, and the government policy on the Clarity Act. XRP finally is on the cusp of doing what we've all been said, but they're not just going to give us it easy. You heard Gary Gensler at the start. He's still proud of what they did. And by the way, he sounds like he's a Bitcoin maximalist. But again, this is just important to think about when we sort of walk through this. Market sentiment is fueling XRP's surging potential. Recognition as a utility token, and more importantly, the growing integration into the financial platform, it is gaining legitimacy. And this is important. And when you start to look at, well, what is the big money doing? And bear in mind, you have, Wall Street and everyone else. What was the big money doing? Well, take a look at this. Whales to exchange floor. Why is this important? This is basically telling us what the big money is doing with XRP. And outside of one particular day, which was an inflow into exchanges prior to the launch of the ETFs, basically no one's doing anything. Everyone's holding on as much as they possibly can. Even while the price is coming down, we are not seeing big amounts of XRP flowing to exchanges. This, yet again, for me, tells us the absolute clarity that this price has been suppressed. They are suppressing the opportunity when it comes to XRP. And I think because we are going to get an absolutely insane number of ETFs listed. You're going to see AVAX, Solana, altcoins, but you are going to see a lot of XRP ones as well. And no other could be more said true than the fact you've got XRP Soul coming up in little over a few days with keynote speakers such as Christina Chan, as well as Kevin Ko, and you start to get in some of these big companies. For example, you've got Binance over there, SC Ventures, Pantera Capital, and the list goes on and on. This is going to be really important. And it could even be that we start to see some of these ETFs as well as capital moves and treasury companies all at those particular events. And I think what an opportunity it's going to be to showcase exactly what Ripple and XRP are doing. We could even get the official announcement of that banking license coming very, very soon as well, as there are pretty big people there, heads of, co-founders is, and more importantly, the heads of Ripple as well. So lots to think about when it comes to the price of XRP. Yes, we're holding $3. Yes, the market's pretty quiet, but the reality is that we're seeing exactly the same play out as it did with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now ETFs are launched, and we all know how that played out in the long run. Is $5 coming? Maybe even 10 this bull market cycle? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And if you think the price is suppressed, give me a yes in the comments. And if you don't, give me a no. Let's see how many yeses. Let's see how many no's. We'll break it down on my live stream, 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Don't miss out. And if you want to get all the latest alpha reports, as well as all of the content we put out early, then head on over, grab a channel membership, and that gives you free access to our premium Discord server. We got alpha calls in there. We got trade setups. We got chart analysis, and it's literally yours for a few bucks a month. So if you're going to be part of that, grab a channel membership, and we'll see you very soon in the Discord. Take care.